back aboard, my good friends. This is Commodore Urban here with another episode of Ship Talk. And this time I'm going to give you another model critique. And this time it is for Revell's SS United States. And this model here, if you want to know, this is an original 1950s model kit. So this is a very, very unique thing I'm giving you a critique on. Because when Revell released this, it was 1955 when they first released this kit. And it was such a big deal because that same year, Ideal Toy Corporation released their version of the SS United States, which was a larger model than this, which later on Glencoe bought the dies and molds for and created their own model. Sorry about that. Created their own model based on that, which I will give you a critique on that later as I get a hold of it and build it. But on the box here it says, scaled from official prints, all plastic, quick, easy to build, no cutting, no sanding. That's a lot of bullshit because I'll explain to you why later. And it says SS United States, the world's fastest liner. Ain't that the truth? And you can, as you see from the box, and on this side here, on the box it shows Revell Authentic Kits, copyright 1953 by Revell Inc., Venice, California. So it was early 50s, 53, 55 when the model came out. I can't remember exactly, but and it shows a whole bunch of other models you can get your hands on. As well as on this side. And on the ends of the box it shows the United States. Now, as for the assembly instructions, they're a piece of paper just like this. Just like this, and in the background of the words it shows the eagle, and at the bottom it shows the model. It says assembly instructions for your SS United States, world's fastest liner. History of your SS United States. The American ocean liner United States is the largest ship ever built in this country, and it is the third largest in the world, 990 feet and having a gross weight of 53,330 tons. She is the fastest of all the world's passenger liners. On her maiden voyage to England on July 3, 1952, she made the crossing in 3 days, 10 hours, and 40 minutes for an average speed of 35.59 knots per hour. This took the record away from the Queen Mary and returned the mythical transatlantic blue ribbon to the United States for the first time since the Baltic held the record in 1852. The SS United States was built at a cost of over $70 million and was 6 years from drawing board to launching. She carries 2,000 passengers and a crew of 1,000 and is driven by steam turbines turning 4 screws. The ship is the first ocean liner to make extensive use of aluminum. The handrails, lifeboats, and large sections of the superstructure being made of this material. It is interesting to note, too, that the only wood aboard this ship is the chopping blocks and the galleys and the several pianos on board. There were 7 government agencies that controlled the building of this great liner. The American Bureau of Shipping, to those standards all American ships are built. The U.S. Navy, whose interest in the ship's concerns for its use as a troop transport. The Maritime Administration, who controls the financing of vessels. The Public Health Service, which supervises food storage and living accommodations. The Federal Communications Commission, which checks the radio equipment. The U.S. Customs Service, which must measure and record the tonnage. And the U.S. Coast Guard, which checks all equipment, construction, and personnel against the requirements of the U.S. navigation laws. It has been said that each of the 48 states and all the United States possessions had a varying part in the construction of this great ship, and there is every indication that the SS United States will continue to warrant the pride of the entire nation. And at the bottom it says, copyright 1955 by Revell Inc., Venice, California, Litho and U.S. And when you open up the instruction sheets, it gives you this exploded diagram of the ship and all the pieces where they go. And basically, read instruction sheet carefully before starting to build your model. Follow number steps carefully for ease in building your model. Okay. And basically it gives you a parts list for your SS United States model, all the parts. And it gives you you know, main things to read and such. But now for the critique on the Revell's SS United States model. Now, for their claim of, on the box, like I read earlier to you, it said all plastic, quick, easy to build, no cutting, and no sanding. Well, I will say one thing about that is true: the all plastic. That's it. And because the quick, easy to build, no cutting, no sanding, that's not true at all. Because it was not quick and easy to build. Some of it was kind of confusing and took a little bit. And no cutting and no sanding. There were some parts I had to cut off the parts trees. If I didn't cut them off, they would have broken off, and I would have had took a long time to fix it. And sanding, there was so much, you know, plastic flash and stuff on the pieces. Had to scrape it off, and then where there's like little chunks of plastic that, kind of weren't supposed to be there, I had to take my little file and just file and file and file. And especially with the edges of the hull before you put the superstructure, there's rough edges on the main hull side. Sand and file and smooth. And probably all the hours it took to sand, file, and stuff on this model, I could have probably read a book. So, but anyway, this was, from what I've read, the SS United States was one of Revell's first ship models and one of the first actual commercial ship models. And I read so much stuff online about this model and stuff. And one of the weirdest things about, you know, the model was that people didn't understand is that it had a flat bottom. It was not a full hull model. And I'll explain to you why about that. Because this is a little bit of the history of the United States. When the SS United States was built, the bottom part of the ship was a top secret because of her use as a potential troop ship that was kept under wraps. So when Revell wanted to create the ship, and they were able to collect plans and stuff of the ship, but only thing from the boot top up. So when they created the model, they had no choice but to make it flat bottom. And now to show you the final product of what this model looks like once you can get finished with it. Just like this. Beautiful, isn't it? It's actually a really nice model once it's all finished up too. But to get it from all the pieces and stuff in the box to this, it's gonna be one hell of a long fucking road for you. But let me hold this up for you. See, as you can see the model, as I'm swinging it around, you can see all the details and stuff I put into it. I actually put extra details into what the model actually had on it. Like if you see on the ship's front and stuff, you can see the little portholes and window on the superstructure. Those actually weren't there. I painted those on personally myself. And the blue ribbon right there that you see, that was a piece of a ribbon cloth that I had that cut for that. But neither than that, it's basically all a, you know, basically right what you get right out of the box. And I've seen some model builders take this model and chop it up and stuff to make it more realistic. Like they'll chop off the thick plastic railing that's actually on here and put real railing and stuff on here. And there's some things here that I will critique about that I did not like these pieces here. Like there's two pieces of the upper promenade that goes from here to about right about here. That you see the lifeboats. The lifeboats are not all individual. They're all molded as one big. They're all molded as part of this piece. And to detail and paint the davits and the boats themselves, plus the boat tops, that was a real pain in the ass. And the just basically painting it. I mean, it wasn't hard to paint some of it. Some of it too, like when I painted the green on her decks, it took 5, 6 coats of green to give it that consistent look like I was looking for. And so, yeah, but like I was saying, for construction wise, I will give it a 5, because if you're like me and you happen to get one of these models, you will probably run into the same problems like I have with having to sand and cut parts off. So if you try to, kind of twist them off, you don't accidentally break the piece, and so on and so forth. And as for painting the model, I will also give it a 5. because some parts are very easy to paint, like the funnels. Those are pretty easy to do, and the upper structure in the hull. But like the green deck and stuff, like I said, that was pretty hard. And other things that are really hard to paint include the little rafts and the little crane motors and all the little stuff on the decks, because those ain't individual pieces. All these little tiny features you see on the decks, those are all molded as into this big single pieces. And so to paint all those individual things different colors, you have to take a little tiny brush, and you gotta have a very steady hand, and you got to have basically patience. And if not, you're gonna drive yourself fucking crazy. But overall, the Revell SS United States model is a very nice piece to have. And the thing is, Revell doesn't make this model anymore, so if you want to get one, you might as well start searching online, because when I got this as a surprise, I didn't know how much it was paid for, but I found out later it was about $65, and I'm like, whoa. Because I see these models all the time go for, between $50 plus. And Revell first released this model in the 50s, and they released it again in the 60s, and they released it again in the 90s. Not, oh yeah, they did, but the 70s. And then they released it not once, but twice in the 90s. And after that, it wasn't back on the market. And so if anybody from Revell is watching this, please re-release the SS United States, so that people don't have to be blowing money out their ass and have to buy one of these. Because it's a 1/600 scale model, and somebody to pay $150 plus for one of these just to have it, it's just, fucking ridiculous. I mean, why would you do it? I wouldn't. But if I had the money then again, no, I probably would. So I hope that this helps you with this model. If you decide to buy, you better have a lot of money to buy it. If not, you're probably not going to have it. But, overall, when you get the model finished, it's a real beautiful piece to really look at, especially to stare at. I stare at it all the time, so. But I'm also a big fan of the SS United States. I'm a collector of SS United States artifacts and memorabilia. So, that is my critique, though, on Revell's 1/600 scale model of the SS United States. And until next time, this is Commodore Urban here saying, happy sailings to you, my good friends, and calm seas.